We're live.
Yeah. Okay, so a little tech difficulties with the new setup.
We had our Laurel and Hardy moment off camera.
Yeah. Well, see, I thought I had the damn thing figured out, and well, that's what I get for thinking. So.
God forbid you think for yourself.
Right, right. All right, so yeah, we have a picture here, and let me pull the live chat up so I can see it. Okay, and get the sound down.
We'll get it figured out for next week, and then this won't be an issue.
Okay, so
hopefully.
hello, Lee. Yeah, plug the blue wire in, see what it does. If that won't work, smack the screen.
No. It was the superflux capacitor wasn't working right. We didn't put
Hey,
enough
Sherry,
garbage
and,
in.
hey, Sherry, and hey, Tater Dom. So it's not who we thought it was. All right, yeah, there we go.
Oh, you got to get your hat.
I gotta have a hat. I mean, I am hattered, so.
That's true.
Well, yeah, at least we got a pretty mic stand back here tonight, even though we're not using it.
Well, that's all right. Hey, we got a nice show right for you this.
Yeah,
this
we
evening.
do.
We
Yeah,
do.
we do. And
It's kind of a little surprise. A little surprise for the Hatter today.
Yeah.
Having to do with our beverage of choice tonight.
Right.
So
see, I see you've got 2 bottles of liquor out here for us tonight.
that's right. Today we're having Toasted Fashions, which is made with either toasted bourbon or toasted rye.
Right.
Which is a unique offering by a few people. My favorite toasted, if you can find it, is Michter's Toasted Rye. Very hard to find bottle. It's kind of a unicorn. Very expensive. Well, if you get it at retail, it's like a $150 bottle. In the secondary market, it's between $400 and $800, which is insane. Don't pay that. Is it worth $150? Ooh, yeah, maybe. I mean, it's really good.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how good it is, and it's hard for me to say that. But here,
Right.
Very interesting, and there's a point that I'm wanted to make now. Over the weekend, my 2 sons and I tested both of these. Now, this has kind of been a staple on my shelf for a while. This is the Elijah Craig Toasted Barrel. This is my second bottle of this. And since I originally bought it, the price on this has, because it was so successful in its initial offering, the price on this has come down considerably. And this is fairly readily available. There won't be a lot of stock in stores, but you will be able to find this if you want to try it. And it should be, in this market, it's $55. I would say you're going to find this for from $50 to up to $75. The other one that has just recently come out.
Musical.
Yeah, Jim Beam has made an offering of a toasted bourbon, which is their Jim Beam Winter Reserve. You can see there, and this has come out. I'll get to the price point on this in a minute. This is readily available in this market. You should be able to find this because the Beam Distillery is a considerably bigger distillery, has much better distribution than Heaven Hill. Even though the Elijah Craig label is Heaven Hill's flagship product.
I'm going to go get us the water right quick.
Oh, and you know what? Grab the ice too.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So while you're doing that, I'm going to pour Michael a blind and let him blind these 2 bourbons to see which one he prefers. And that was kind of the impetus of what tonight's little surprise was. I did this over the weekend with my 2 sons, and all 3 of us, independent of each other, we did the same thing. I did the same thing with them that I'm doing with Michael, and that is letting him taste both. Now here, this is A, and this is B. Even though we didn't mark A and B.
All right. A, B.
A, B.
That was a good opportunity to do that blind while I was out of the room.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Okay, and Lee says, question for Sage. Why is it considered rude to wear a hat indoors, especially in a restaurant? Seems hypocritical given the hairnet requirement for cooks. Or at the very least, counterintuitive.
What do I look like, the fucking El Shell answer man? I don't know.
You're the sage.
I would think it depends on the restaurant.
That's nice.
It depends on the restaurant, Lee. I mean, if we're talking about Jack in the Box or In and Out, I don't think that's an issue. But if we're at a white tablecloth, 3-star Michelin, I would never wear a hat. So I don't know. But hey, anyways, I'm wearing a hat this week.
Yes, you are.
I'm wearing my Marine Corps hat because this week, of course, on the start of the week was November the 10th, which is the Marine Corps birthday.
Absolutely.
So to all my fellow Marines, past and present, happy birthday, gentlemen and ladies.
He says, "Hey, you take a handle like the sage. Expect inquiries."
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, I've always called you Obi-Wan or Yoda.
I know.
He is the answer man. All right, so here, first observations. I haven't taken a taste yet.
Just take a nose.
I did take a nose on both of them. B is sharper than A. It's got more of an ethanol back to it.
And in here, just
A is very smooth. Smooth there too. And you were about to say?
I was gonna ruin it.
Ah, okay.
I stopped myself before I got to I'm being a stupid idiot.
He was going to give away the plot, right?
Kind of, sort of, yeah. But I just want to see if you come to the same conclusion, independent, as the three of us did, because your palate is starting to really get developed nicely. Mm-hmm. So I trust your.
That lingers even after the palate cleanser, too. Even though it's not like thick and viscous or anything like that.
It's not as viscous as B, I agree.
A lot bolder. Still not sure. I mean, I'm getting a little bit of a hug in both cases. Not very much.
They're very close in proof.
I'm going to have to...
Do you have any distinguishable tasting, like what's tasting?
That's what I was trying to pull out. It's a trick. Michael, both are from the same bottle.
No, they're not.
Well, you guys saw that.
Although that would be funny.
Yeah, that would be funny. He's just trying to get me drunk over here.
Now, these are both very enjoyable bourbons. I mean, if you're going to go buy a toasted bourbon, you can't really lose either way. I mean, in my opinion, yeah. They're very close. Yes.
They are.
They're very similar. There's very subtle differences.
A is smoother than B.
I agree with that.
B is bolder, but it's not a bad thing. It's not.
No, it's just.
And even then, usually when you say one's smoother than the other, that's your, oh, I like that one better. No, in this case, that's not it.
It's hard to put a finger on.
Yeah.
And
I actually I like the bolder one.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Out of those.
Any
as far as if I was going to be sitting here sipping on it,
So any particular flavors that you can pull out of either one?
And the bad thing is I saw the bottle on that, so I saw the vanilla and cinnamon on it. I'm thinking that's where it is.
Okay.
Because of the bolder taste, I'm getting the cinnamon within that some. But you said they're similar profiles too.
I get cinnamon from both of them.
Okay.
I'll tell you, I get cinnamon vanilla kind of sticky bun from one, and I get cinnamon cinnamon graham cracker with roasted marshmallow from another one.
So
that's what I
wheat
get.
Coming through it a little more. In other words,
that's just what I get. I get roasted marshmallows a little bit,
okay.
Or toasted marshmallow on a graham cracker.
That one.
That's the one I get toasted marshmallow from. Yes,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, this is the one you mentioned a minute ago, the vanilla.
That's like a vanilla icing.
Yeah.
Cinnamon bun.
Cinnamon bun type.
Yes.
Yep. Absolutely correct. So I'm going to guess, based on what I saw earlier, then that this is the Jim Beam.
Correct.
All right. The A is the Jim Beam.
And B is
the
the Elijah Craig. And you like the Craig more.
I do.
See, for me, it's...
Well, I like both of them, though.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I really like both of them.
I
I'm turning my back to the camera.
I completely agree.
Getting out there and getting a look.
I think whether or not you like one more than the other is subjective, is completely subjective.
Lee says, Hatter's funny once he gets lit.
Yeah, well, he's far from lit. But now I'll change the equation.
Okay.
I'll change the equation for you.
All right.
Because what are we big on? We're big.
Value proposition.
You can buy 2 of these bottles
for that.
one.
I figured that out. Yeah.
This costs $25.
Wow, really?
And when I went,
That would be good with eggnog.
I completely, well, either one would be good with eggnog, but
Yeah.
I agree more so
But
with this one
the smooth
than this
taste
one.
and the cinnamon
Now,
bun taste of that.
I think the reason this is smoother is because this is 86 proof, this is 94 proof.
Okay.
And you picked up on that, your nose picked up on that right away.
Right, yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah, he's definitely developed my palate. Even since we've been doing this, you've really developed my palate.
oh yeah,
since then.
well, you see, you just got to continually try things, constantly.
I'm putting those aside for later.
Okay, that's fine. Well, now here's the question. We're going to have a toasted fashion.
Mm-hmm.
Which would you prefer?
Let's go with the toasted marshmallow.
Okay, you're getting it. Now, do you want now with the toasted fashion, you got a lot of options with the toasted fashion.
Right.
Okay? A toasted fashion, I like it a certain way, and that's how I'm going to make mine.
Okay.
Okay? You can have, old fashions are generally made with an orange in the stir, and then orange zest.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Well, on a toasted fashion, because of the toasted barrel, and that's what it is. The barrel is not
wanted to go over that.
supercharred or alligator charred. It's simply toasted, and the whiskey is then aged in that toasted barrel. Now,
There's the inside of the barrel that's toasted, right?
it's
They
right.
heat it for a little bit, and
Well, if you can look up on YouTube, barrel toasting. Like, I mean, literally, they take a barrel and it's a raging, like a jet engine, burning the inside of it.
damn.
The length of time that it burns and the temperature that it burns at will determine the char level.
Right.
So now here's what's interesting is like my go-to Wild Turkey 101 has got a number 4 alligator char, which is like the highest char point. That means that inside of that barrel is black toast.
Gotcha.
Okay, where this is a toasted barrel is the heat, the level of heat is lower, and the length of time is less when they char the barrel. So it's just toasted. And it brings out different flavors from the wood.
Makes sense. Okay, Lee had another comment back when we were talking about the cinnamon. He said cinnamon mental. Cinnamon mental.
Cinnamon mental. We are cinnamon mental.
Yes. And he said, how does that go again? I'm not sure what he's asking about there. But...
I don't know. What? Lee, you got to clarify that question.
Yeah, you got to clarify sometimes.
All right, let's get to mixing you a drink.
Yeah.
All right. So now you have your choice. You want orange? You want lemon? You want both?
Let's do both.
Okay,
What the hell?
both it is.
So, by the way,
Oh,
the little box we tried to use is very cool, and I've had some cool experiments with it, but the live experiment went awry tonight. I'm not even sure we showed up live, even though it said we did. So while Scott's doing this, I'll go over our usual
Social media stuff, yes.
Yeah, so, of course, obviously, you're watching us right now on YouTube at Loquacious Libations. Facebook is the same handle, at Loquacious Libations. Instagram is I always do that, Loquacious_Libations. And now on X.
what am I fucking... Oh, that works.
I have no idea. But we're also on X now. We haven't
Oh,
really
yeah,
done
you
anything
just
with
started
it yet.
that. Oh, that's great.
We haven't really done anything with it yet, but We are on X, and that's at Loquacious Live.
On
Yeah,
X.
on X. Yeah.
Yeah,
Loquacious Live.
we just got that up on Monday.
Just the other day, yeah, Tuesday or something like that. I'm not sure which.
Yeah, I can't remember when you texted
Haven't
me.
even really screwed around with it much, so I don't know.
No, we can go live on there too now.
Yeah, yeah, and what I was hoping is, we talked about eventually simulcasting, and I think this would work with that, but we may have to do something else. I'm not sure. So I'm going to do some more research. First, we're going to get you using this the way that it's intended to use.
Yeah, well, you got to figure that out. So,
And I even had some really cool video stuff done for this week because of it too. So. As a matter of fact, wait a minute here. I'm going to do a little bit of a trick here. I'm going to come off of monitoring live chat for just a minute. Still going to be live over there. But would you think it's, I know you're still making the drink over there, but would you think it's time for the,
the craziness roundup?
yeah.
Yeah, we should. I mean,
Whoops, that was
see
a
now
little
this
premature on it, but
that's a sound effect that this new device that Michael has got for us.
all right, so it's time for the craziness roundup. That's the low rent version of the splash screen.
So, go ahead. What's your crazy? I mean, there's been a lot of crazy shit that's happened since the election.
Well,
the meltdown is continuing.
Well, here, I'm sorry, and we, of course, we always try not to stay, in the political realm here with it. But KJP has got to be one of the craziest ones out there, in my opinion.
You sent me that news item, what?
2 days ago, and it's just the same stuff over and over again. Like here, before, on the way home, I was listening to some things from today, and you got reporters asking questions that, here Trump and Biden met today, and Trump's been called a fascist by Biden. Was there an apology? Was the reporter's question, and just her whole attitude when she answers stuff like that is troubling to me. Not so much troubling, but she's condescending, disrespectful the way she even handles the press, or excuse me, the opposing press, should I say? Troubling to me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there we go. I'm back on monitoring live chat.
That's because here, I think the reason for that though is that I think the mainstream media, the people have really spoken in the last week.
Yeah, yeah.
First, I mean, CNN and MSNBC, the two most left-wing networks,
Right.
are up for sale now.
Are they? See, I had not heard that yet. Wait, I did hear something about Elon Musk.
I wouldn't be surprised if he
Thinking
buys
about buying
both.
MSNBC.
Well, yeah.
Now, that would be interesting.
I mean, you could turn these things around if you actually just started actually doing real journalism.
Right. And see, that's the key to it right there. And I'm sorry, even Fox News, especially Fox News, they're just the polar opposite.
They're all fake.
Yeah,
it's all fake.
They're the polar opposite. And what I would like to see again is actual journalism. Report the facts. Let me develop my own opinions. That's,
no.
Walter Cronkite. You didn't see any of this shit out of him.
I don't have a high opinion of anybody, but I mean,
Yeah.
That's number one.
Yeah.
Okay, both of those two networks are for sale now. But number two, viewership at MSNBC is down 28% since the election,
too, yeah.
and 44% at CNN. So the ratings have absolutely collapsed. You think about what that means for advertisers. My at CNN, 40% of the eyeballs are gone.
Right.
Why am I paying them anything?
And I think it's a combination of things. I think it's their bias, number one. You know, because they've been blatantly biased for years, as far as that goes. This here, starting in about the mid '80s or so, you could start to see the media doing things like that. You know, going off one direction or the other. It was always usually to the left and the liberal side. And you know, of course, at that point, it wasn't much, and journalism still had integrity. You know,
For the record,
yeah,
I preferred this one.
really,
Yeah,
the Jim Beam.
yeah. I honestly, especially given the fact that what I told you when I first bought this, the first bottle was gone really quickly, so much so that I drove back to the same store and bought he had
Yeah,
4
the bottle.
bottles,
Right,
and he had one left when I got back 2 or 3 days later.
right.
Because it was a really hot product when it came out. So I'm here, but one of the reasons why is because they're very similar in profile.
Right.
They're very similar in their mash bills. And I like the finish on this more, which is why I chose. It doesn't have as good a mouthfeel, but the finish is so good. The only thing the knock on this one is it's got a little bit of that Jim Beam peanut, which isn't necessarily a bad thing.
Right.
Just
that signature
it's kind of there,
taste in there, though. Yeah.
you know. So,
But you know, then
but here the other point that part of my equation is when I was tasting them, I was like, okay, well, which one is a 25? I really was.
right. Where
I
is
was
the
like,
value proposition?
where's the value proposition in this? And I was like, they're both. I mean, they're both so good. I recognized right away because I bought them,
Right.
so I knew the price points already. And I'm like, what a great value proposition that Beam is.
Right. Lisa, that's hysterical. Blah ha ha ha. Red wave coming through. But yeah, I mean, here, my mom was in the newspaper business, as you know, Sherry. So I came up respecting journalists, you know, that would get out there and actually give.
See, real journalism
facts.
is not on television anymore.
No.
Real journalism is in the Substack. Is in the
Well, see, it's not even in print anymore. Print used to be your place for real journalism, and now it's like you said, it's Substack.
Well, and here's
It's
you said in the
it's-
1980s it started to die.
Yeah.
I'll tell you where I think it started to die.
Okay.
Bob Woodward, who everybody holds up as a god,
Right. Watergate.
was a naval intelligence officer. Left the Navy, okay, as a very young man. Okay, he wasn't 30 yet. Gets a job at the Washington Post, and his first story is breaking Watergate scandal.
Right.
How does you're telling me in the real journalism
A
world,
rookie.
a rookie reporter,
that
I don't
just
care
happens
what
to
their
have-
background
right.
is, gets a whole. It's such a setup, and nobody. It makes me crazy.
Right. Yeah, I think you're right. That may be back where it began, and I just came up believing differently. Excuse me.
And here, the deep state exists.
Yeah.
I just know.
Yeah.
It's obvious. So, but anyways, go on with what you were saying.
Yeah.
I took us on a tangent.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. That's when I can do those little text drive. Tangent. I need to do one of those for that. But I mean, like I said, I came up respecting journalism. You know, reporting what's going on, and knowing the difference between that and the opinion. Cheers.
My favorite drink.
Cheers.
My favorite drink. The old fashioned. In this case, a toasted fashion.
These are beautiful glasses. Oh my gosh, wow. That's tasty.
Isn't it? That a toasted bourbon just really. I
Sweet, citrusy.
go buy
Oh,
either one of these
ooh,
bottles.
there's the cinnamon.
Yeah,
It took a minute.
yeah. And
Wow.
now you should be getting
That's
toasted
even-
marshmallow and
Yeah. And see,
They're both fantastic.
I'm tasting stuff that I didn't taste before, but I can tell it's the bourbon where it's coming from the toasted whiskey. Wow, that's really good.
Michael's running out this afternoon, tomorrow afternoon, and buying one of these
No,
now.
I'll do the value proposition on it. Sherry says, touche, Sage.
Yeah, and, and we're getting a little. Go ahead with your. Let's go
I was
back to
pretty
your
much-
mom.
Oh well, yeah. With the growing up with the newspaper business and all that, and as you know, I was editor of my high school newspaper 40 fucking years ago now, but I still had a level of respect for.
Everybody
we always
had,
called it having ink in your blood. I had ink in my blood.
everybody had a level of respect, I think, for journalism until about.
90s.
Some people still have a respect for journalism, but
But it doesn't exist anymore. Not
especially
in, yeah.
well, especially since Obama changed the rules and allowed newscasts to be a 100% editorial. And it's no longer a crime to propagandize over the airwaves,
Yeah.
which I think is going to get changed on January 20th.
Yeah.
If not before, I don't want to open up Pandora's box quite yet. We'll get to that.
There's some craziness going on.
There's some
for that,
craziness coming, but that I'm afraid of. I don't know. I mean, I just think it's a possibility that I think it's a possibility because I know what we're fighting.
that there are going to be more shenanigans before you.
I think it's going to be beyond shenanigans. I personally believe we're going to go into a lockdown.
All right.
I'm not saying we are. It's theory. It's complete theory at this point, but
Right.
I think it's going to be a necessary evil. But that, just like it was a necessary evil in the first time, for the same reasoning that I think everybody will come to realize will be there. It just won't be apparent at first.
Right.
So, I'll tell you my craziness for the week. Are you done
All
with
right.
your craziness for
Yes.
the week?
Yes, I am absolutely.
My craziness for the week. I mean, there was a lot of stuff, but mine is a meltdown story that I told you before.
And by the way, Sherry says, and that breaks my heart talking about the journalism. I guess there.
But I think a return to real journalism is coming, because I think that the majority of especially young people that really do believe in the truth. They want to know the truth.
I think there's more of them out there now than we think. Too.
I think it showed up in this election.
Yep.
I mean, he carried the day with the Amish in Pennsylvania, which definitely won for.
Well, didn't spend anything on media there for sure.
No, but he had a great ground game there.
Yeah.
But he clearly won with suburban white women,
Yeah.
with men, and with young men from like 24 to 30 was overwhelmingly. So I think there's that group of people that are
Here, I'll add one more small.
that
bit
want
of
they
craziness.
want the truth.
I'll go back and add one more small bit of craziness.
Oh, I got to get to my crazy story. So
Yeah,
you're just adding
before
to
you
it.
do this. This is a quick tangent on it, right quick.
Tangent.
Yep.
Boing.
Over $1 billion spent and $20 million in debt, but the other side got free press from all the legal stuff. Anyway, just wanted to point that one out. Your craziness.
My craziness this week. This is crazy. This is crazy to me, and I really thank God for cell phones. Number one, I saw a video that and most of the video was a police footage, so that kind of tells you where we're going.
Okay.
But there is a woman, African American woman, black lady. Looks like she's middle aged, and she's wearing a T-shirt, and it says, "What does it say? Pro God, pro life, pro guns, pro Trump." Okay. An 82-year-old retired teacher woman comes up to her and starts berating this woman, how could you possibly have voted for that man? You voted against yourself. And then punches her in the face
82-year-old one punches
and gets herself arrested. Gets herself arrested. Now, I just the derangement syndrome is real,
Yeah.
and it's such a sad. My grandma would have, now I had one that was a real feisty woman, but she would never have ever thought to punch somebody in the face for their political views.
Oh yeah, over political views. I mean,
unbelievable.
growing up, we didn't really know anybody else's political views. I mean, we didn't really ask that kind of crap. You know,
Because you didn't care.
If you did talk about it, you were friends, and you know,
and,
but it was
and
no politics, no religion. You know, man, it has just become where
the meme I sent you with the charcuterie board.
Yeah, yes, I did send that to Lee. He said too many people have too much time on their hands.
That is so funny.
Yes, Hatter has a name for those kind of people. Sherry says yes, shitiots.
Damn it, that's a great. Can I borrow that?
Yes.
Yes.
It's not, I can't claim it. Sherry actually sent me a meme with it in it, and it actually had, you know, people who are stupid and get into bad shit and just stay in it. That's not exactly what I'm paraphrasing, but
Yeah.
we'll share it somewhere.
Yeah.
I'll put that reel up that she sent me on our Facebook.
Oh yeah, please do. I'll watch it.
All right.
So, yeah, I just don't get it. I really don't. I mean, I don't have ill will for somebody towards somebody because they don't believe the same thing that I believe.
Right.
That's okay. You know,
I've never understood
matter of fact, here, I signed up
to protect.
to go and do really bad things in places on this planet so that you can espouse the things that make my blood boil.
Right.
You know, and I will today still defend that.
Absolutely.
And it makes me crazy.
It makes me sad
It is
to see these people melting down to this point that they've been whipped into a frenzy by the propaganda that we were talking about.
Yes.
And have this misconception of the things that are going to happen under this
Oh,
new
that's the
administration.
thing that's craziest. It's like where are they coming up with this?
Where are they getting the concentration camps? And the
I know.
Anyway, so okay, I think that's enough on the craziness. We
Yeah.
spent about half the time on it. It's already 10 after 9, bro.
our brains will explode if we
Yes.
continue on this
Right.
path. So,
But yeah, we do have some cool things planned for the show coming up overall. Scott on the content side, me on the production side.
yeah, actually, we do have some pretty cool stuff.
Yep.
I learned something new this week that I told you earlier, but
Yep.
I'll tell you.
Yes, please.
We have made the comment that we want to try to take this syrup from the Luxardo cherries and make an old fashioned with that syrup rather than the simple syrup.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's going to be just fantastic. Well, I found out this week that there's an actress, a Cuban actress, and she was one of the Bond girls. Die Another Day, I think, or
I lost track.
I forget which one, but it was Daniel Craig goes to Cuba, and she is the CIA agent that is his liaison in Cuba. Well, that particular actress loves old fashions, and she is the first one. Now, Cuban actresses and Cuban movie stars have had a knack. Women.
Casino Royale.
No, it's not Casino Royale.
Okay, Lee, by the way.
I think it's Good Day to Die or Die Another Day or something like that. It was the one after Quantum of Solace. Anyways, I am a Bond fan. I just can't think of the title of that movie.
I need to get back into Bond. I haven't watched Bond in a long time.
But she has that's the way she prefers her old fashions. It's her favorite cocktail, and so it got nicknamed an Anna fashion.
All right, but specifically like with the
With
actual
with
Luxardo.
Luxardo
Right.
syrup. So we'll make one of those.
There you go.
I think next week we're going to make the improved whiskey cocktail, which is an old fashioned riff. It's very interesting. It'll bring back a couple of things that we've used in the past, or introduce us to something new, a new flavor.
Okay.
And it was called the improved whiskey cocktail because they wanted to take the old fashioned, and if you don't know the story of where the old fashioned got its name, we
Covered that in the first season of Whiskey Wednesday.
about 15 or 20 weeks ago, but real quickly.
Can you believe we've been doing this for 6 months?
Yeah, and can you believe this month is half over?
Right?
I mean, it just seems like the election was yesterday.
Yep.
I don't.
But the 6 month thing, May 8th was our first show. So November 8th would have been 6 months for us doing this.
That's crazy.
Isn't that insane?
That is crazy.
And most of it, of course, was on Facebook. But here we've been
Yeah,
on
I know.
YouTube for 6 or 7 weeks now.
I know.
5 or 6.
We're getting a little catalog
Yeah.
up on YouTube. So for those of you that don't know the old fashioned story, I'll put it in a nutshell. James E. Pepper, which is a very famous distiller in I think it was Frankfort, Kentucky, visited the Pendennis Club in Louisville, Kentucky, and walked in and asked the bartender for I would like a drink made the old-fashioned way. Well, the old-fashioned way was before the old-fashioned was what they're called bitter slings and was made with this product. Mm-hmm. This product hasn't changed its recipe since the early 1800s, like 1830s.
And that's specifically Angostura.
The Angostura bitters. It's made in Trinidad, I think. And so he concocted what is basically the same old-fashioned that we drink today, but we're drinking it with bourbon. Rye was the prevalent whiskey back in the 1800s and all the way through the 1920s. Right. I mean, Prohibition, most of the whiskey that comes out of Canada is rye whiskey because they grow so much rye up there. So
all right.
That's the story of the old-fashioned.
Lee asks, have you heard about Craig's new movie?
No.
Daniel Craig. So, no, we have not.
I like him as an actor. I really liked him as Bond. To me, he's a really close second to who James Bond really is. I'll never forget when I was a kid, speaking of James Bond, sorry to change the subject, Lee. I was so disappointed because matter of fact, I went to the theater.
He was the best Bond.
Oh, I went to the theater with my dad, okay, to see. I don't know which one it was, but it was. But I was like, that's not James Bond. It was Roger Moore, and I was just like,
right.
That's not James Bond, and I was like 10 or 12 at the time, and it took me half a movie to get over it. My dad was explaining to me it's a character. He's playing a character.
But that's not him.
But that's not James Bond. Of course, I didn't realize, of course, that Sean Connery's real name was not James Bond.
Right.
Yeah, I was a little... I already can hear it. They're busting my balls. I can feel it.
Right.
Yeah, I was a little slow on the uptake until I was about 15.
Lee says he hated Roger Moore, still does. See, now, Roger Moore was my first Bond as far as that goes. I guess that's maybe partially why it didn't really fully take with me, because of Roger Moore.
It's not like he was a bad Bond, but...
No. The movies were cheesy as hell, though, and it didn't really interest me to read the books at that point.
They weren't as good. They weren't nearly as good as... I have a theory, speaking of Bond. They weren't nearly as good as Connery's Bond movies because they were the books.
Right.
The scripts were based on the books.
Right.
Where then they had to come up with new scripts.
Right.
You know, and then they went overboard with Octopussy and
Moonraker,
Moonraker.
Jaws.
Yes. So, but to
And so
me,
that's where I came up with it right there. And like I said, that was, even to me as an 8 and 9-year-old, that was campy as shit. You
oh
know?
yeah, cinema
Yeah.
at that time was stupid. Don't forget, Jaws was a big hit then.
Right.
So we had a mechanical shark scaring the shit out of people.
Right. But see, then I got into Star Wars and Star Trek.
Yeah, me too.
You know, I was that science fiction.
Now I can
geek
remember,
kid.
my mom took me and my sister kicking, screaming to see Star Wars, and when it first came out at the Mill Road Theater at a Saturday matinee, and she was like, "You have to go see this. You have to go see this." She's like, "You like Star Trek, right?" I'm like, "I watched Star Trek with you, Mom, but I don't care. Star Wars. I don't want to see wars in space. I'll never forget it." And she dragged me to it. I wanted to see it again and again. The point I was going to make about James Bond, though, Lee might appreciate this. I'll tell you who I personally believe is the first James Bond on film. It wasn't a James Bond movie, even,
Okay.
but it was Cary Grant in North by Northwest.
All right. I'll accept that.
That was
Circle gets the square.
That was, I mean, of course, that's a Hitchcock movie, and it was a great movie. That's my
One of my favorites, actually.
That's
yeah.
my favorite Hitchcock movie.
By the way, Sherry, just to catch us up here, Daniel Craig was the best for that character. That was Lee. Sherry comes back, hands down, Sean Connery, sexiest Bond.
Yeah, no, Sherry, I'll tell you what. If that man asked me out when he was From Russia with Love, I'd bend over and take it.
And then Lee comes back, he couldn't take a punch. Sherry says, nope, G77, Lee. Connery was great, but Craig was meaner. Sherry says, nope.
Here, Craig was the perfect pick for the modern Bond.
Yeah. Now, I liked Dalton in his very first movie. After that, he lost my interest.
And I'll tell you who totally
I never
disappointed
watched
me.
Brosnan.
Remington Steele, completely disappointed. He was more in the Roger Moore mode.
Yeah.
I was like, no, this tall, skinny dude just
Yeah.
doesn't get it.
Well, he should have been the Connery version. And he had that potential.
He had that potential.
Brosnan had that potential
Here.
to go there.
He in the remake of Thomas Crown Affair, he was fantastic.
Shit. That was Sherry.
Yeah. Touche. Touche. Sherry, I can't wait to meet your ass. I really can't. I'll wear my.
Might not be too long. She said she might be coming down after Christmas.
I will be wearing my cup that night.
Too funny.
You know what's crazy about this? This drink. The one thing that drives me nuts about this drink is it gets sweeter as it goes down. It doesn't matter.
Well, it's that cherry sitting down there and soaking the juices out of it and the alcohol into it. It's so good though.
Well, the problem with this, again, this drink, the way that I make them at least,
He makes a damn good drink, y'all. By the way,
is they can get you in. Well, now here, you know what's really? I'm gonna have to confession time. Confession time.
confession time. Hat's coming off. It's getting hot in here.
If when I was bartending, when I was 22 years old, 21 years old, if you came to the bar and you ordered whatever it was,
Yeah.
well, if you came to the bar, I would have just started tapping a Miller, because that's what everybody drank up there, or a
Right.
Bud, but mostly Miller.
Yep.
I mean, literally, we would go through Miller High Life too, bottles and on tap. Miller High Life at the University of Wisconsin in the early '80s, that was the beer.
Yep.
But if girls came to the bar, if it was a cute girl, she'd get a heavy pour.
Right.
If she was a not so cute girl,
Butterface.
No, Butterfaces would get decent drinks because she was a Butterface. But then the girls that were
There ain't no
trying real
chance.
hard and just sorry,
Ain't no shot.
not interested.
All right, so
The only problem
ketchup
with
back up.
the only problem with that was most of the girls that I was giving heavy pours to,
Uh-huh.
I didn't realize it at the time, but I never probably had a shot with that.
So Sherry says January.
Okay, great.
Y'all could do a special inauguration party with Sherry as your guest.
Oh, that
Lee,
would be awesome.
that would be
fun.
incredible.
You know what? If it would be awesome if we
He's-
had an inauguration party with Lee and with Sherry.
Yeah, well, Lee is
Lee-
not going to get his ass down here.
Lee just needs to suck it up and get in the car.
Yeah. Sherry, however, says probably can't get there first week, G77. Oops. Siri tried to pick up there when I said Sherry.
No, that's another crazy thing that happened this week.
Hang on. So probably can't get there first week. It's not first week, January 20th. January 6th is what you were thinking over there, I think. Yeah.
No, listen.
So second or third week, January 20th.
Let's just see if we get. I'm wondering. Okay, now here, I said it. I was wondering if we were going to have an election.
Right?
Thank God we did.
Yep.
I mean, I'm
Yeah,
very glad.
he was dead set that we weren't going to have an election.
I really thought that there was a distinct possibility that we weren't going to get there, but thank goodness, because I think the American people had to speak.
Cooler heads prevailed also.
Yeah. Now, but what I'm wondering if we're going to Trump is doing things. This new administration coming in is coming in. I mean, look at what we're already getting. We're getting a lot of information. This person's nominated for this. This person. I mean, we're getting a full cabinet of nominees within a week. Mm-hmm. That's a little unusual.
It is, but at the same time, you got to think of it this way too. And I know you've already thought in this direction too. Look at the limited amount of time he's really got to get action started.
2 years.
Not even that.
Yeah, not even
18
that.
months.
18 months.
17, 18 months. Somewhere around in there before the election cycle starts.
Again.
In perpetuity.
Yeah, no, I mean.
Again, for the midterms. So he's really got 18 months to get everything in line so that the results are there for those.
Well, see, that's what I believe is going to occur. Because they've already shown their hand. We're going to go at a Mach speed. Mm-hmm. Okay? And we're going to get things done.
For any liberal who might come across this, we're not staunch conservatives or anything like that. We have our own vision of how things should be.
Well, I'll sum it. I'll sum it up.
Okay.
I
would classify myself closer to libertarian, but not a libertarian.
I lean much more that way, but
I don't go quite
as
crazy as some of the libertarians go. You want these?
No, I think I can.
Trifocals, but the bottom.
I'll just blow it up. There was a post today by.
He's been blowing it up over here already, y'all. Y'all just couldn't hear it from the microphones.
That's why he was laughing before, because I had pasta and pasta gives me gas, and I was ripping them. Elon Musk posted this today.
All right.
I follow Elon and I get his feed. All actions of the Department of Government Efficiency, Doge.
Don't you love that?
Oh, you think that's a coincidence?
You know.
No. Will be posted online for maximum transparency.
Yep.
Anytime the public thinks we are cutting something important or not cutting something wasteful, let us know. We will also have a leaderboard for most insanely dumb spending of your tax dollars.
Oh, that's got to be the shrimp on the treadmill, man.
This will be both extremely tragic and extremely entertaining.
Oh, wait a minute. That's over 30 years old. I'm sorry. My little quip just then with shrimp on the treadmill.
Yeah, I know. I get it. But here, if there's anything that I think, if the Democrats or the Republicans scream about transparency, you know that they are part of the problem. I don't care who you are. Government needs to be 100% transparent outside of
Intelligence.
most intelligence.
Yeah. Yeah.
But see, I just believe that the world is about to make a change beyond our recognition.
I think honestly, this what they're calling the red wave, and I hate stuff like that because it's not one party or the other. It's the ideology and as a whole.
It's
It had been trying to swing too hard to the left.
Well,
The pendulum of the political spectrum
But-
was trying to swing too hard that way, and now it's making a correction.
see, you know how I view things.
Yeah.
I think that we are trained.
And we've just gone all the way into the craziness tonight.
We're and I've said
That's
I
our
think,
second time we've done this.
I know, but it's such a hot topic that it's hard
Yeah.
not to cover it. It'll be interesting to come back to this 2 years from now and rewatch it.
I see you there, Lee. Hang on. He said that would have been a great idea. Sherry says she'll try. She can do that the week around the inauguration.
That would be great, Chair. I
Um,
would love. I'm really looking forward to meeting you, anyways.
Yep. And yes, she will keep us on our toes, Lee.
What I was going to say is,
yeah, sorry.
we are conditioned to see things as left and right,
Yeah.
when in reality, it's good and evil, good and
Yeah.
evil, and evil extends across that party line, but so does good. Okay, so not all Democrats and Republicans are good, and they're not all evil. Okay, but there are who's been running the show
The
for
extremes on both sides are the evil.
well, and who's been running the show on this planet for thousands and thousands of years has become completely entrenched.
Y'all are getting loquacious, he says.
Yes, we are. That's the gist.
What
of
it's all
this.
about.
And we're not cutting up and bullshitting today, but I think
Yeah.
it's hard for this subject not to dominate.
Right.
Especially,
you know what? As a result,
I
gonna
think
go
it's
a
coming
long
sooner
night
than we
because
think.
It's 9:30 right now, but we're going to go ahead and go a little long tonight. I'm not going to cut us off at 9:30 tonight. We're just going to keep going and have a little more fun with it since we've spent some craziness time there.
We did have a lot of crazy, but it's so hard not. Last week we were gloating a little bit,
Yeah.
but I also said, and I still feel this way. I feel so bad. I feel really bad for the woman that punched the black lady in the face because,
I feel bad for the woman that got punched.
well, I do too.
Just for wearing a damn shirt.
that
For expressing her First Amendment rights.
that should never happen, regardless of what you're wearing,
Right.
regardless of what you say. But that this woman that is a reasonable, educated, intelligent person is driven to the point where
Yes.
she takes physical violence against another human. Okay? And, for somebody that has taken serious physical violence against other people on this planet,
Not by choice. but-
I don't take that lightly.
Right.
Okay? What is wrong? What does this country come to?
Yeah.
That a grandma has to punch a black lady out.
Right. Lee says, wait till Sherry gets there. Sherry, of course, laughed at that. Talking about keeping us on our toes again, I guess. Lee called us booze hounds.
We are booze hounds.
Yes, we are. And
Not-
so are you, sir.
Not really. Lee, I'll tell you what. Should you go buy a bottle of this?
Lee, go get you a bottle of this for the winter, man. Seriously. Jim
For
Beam
25
Winter
bucks.
Reserve.
Well, in Georgia, it'll be a little bit higher because taxes are bad up there on booze. But yeah,
Come down here and get you a bottle.
come down here and get your bottle.
Yeah. Oh, that reminds me. Remember I said that I was going to tell you something on the cast tonight?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I went to the bourbon barn to get our bottle of a benchmark for last week.
Yes.
While I was there, I inquired about AAA.
Okay.
Okay, so AAA 10 star.
Yep.
Of course, now it's no longer a 10-year. Here, just a brief
Ancient age.
age. Right, so Ancient Age was my granddaddy's brand. At the time he was drinking it, it was a 7-year bourbon. Then Buffalo Trace bought them
And made it a
changed.
2-year
Now
bourbon,
it's a 2-year
bottom
bourbon.
shelf bourbon.
Right, and it's a 2-year bottom shelf.
An entry-level bourbon, I'll
Right.
call it.
So back in the day, my granddaddy used to get AAA during the holidays, and
Which
that,
AAA
at that time,
is ancient age.
And at the time, it was a 10-year bourbon.
Age-stated bourbon. And it
Right.
was really good juice.
Oh, it was really good, and especially good with eggnog. And I was really, always
Oh,
looking forward to that every year to get the ancient age to go with my eggnog. And then they discontinued it
Yeah.
altogether. I mean, just done.
I,
Right. And the only thing you could get was ancient age. Well, I wasn't educated about bourbon at that time, so I didn't know it had switched from a 7 to a 2-year. But I thought it was enough.
the flavor, see, you don't recall it.
The flavor profile was close enough that it never
It
changed
had that
holiday.
major
feel to it.
butterscotch note to it.
Exactly. So anyway, I discovered a couple of years ago that they had changed the ancient age to 10 star.
Mm-hmm.
And it's what, a 4-year blend now or something like that. So I asked about it the other day, just to see if it was there, to get that little bit of an upgrade on the ancient age for the eggnog this year.
Sure.
Which I'm thinking,
Oh, I think that'd be just stellar in the egg.
not even this, but that for the eggnog.
Hey, again, here.
Because I use Southern Comfort eggnog.
This is the way to kind of think about it. 50 drinks?
Right? 25 drinks.
25.
Yep.
Oh,
Exactly.
no. For the same price point,
Right.
50 drinks, 12 drinks. 50
Okay.
drinks. You want to spend the same amount of money, about $55, okay? You're going to get 50 drinks out of this. You're going to get 12 drinks out of this. There's roughly 12 drinks in a
Right.
bottle if you're pouring 2-ounce pours.
So, anyway, I inquired about the AAA 10 star.
Okay.
Right. $155.
Wow.
If they can get
If they can get it.
If they can get it.
Yeah.
$155.
And that's probably the part of the problem, and I'm hoping this eventually gets corrected, because we have the 3-tier system. Okay, so everybody's got to get their markup.
Right.
Well, I'm of the opinion that you should be able to, as a legal aged adult, to go to the website of Buffalo Trace and purchase whatever product they have available for sale on their website
At MSRP.
at MSRP and have it shipped to you and pay the shipping.
Yes.
But in the
Like
crazy
you
world,
can any other product.
correct. But in the crazy world that we live in, you have to go now here. Well, somebody's out there to say, well, you can go online and get it somewhere else. Yes, you can. But that somewhere else has got a distributor in there. So people think, oh, Jim Beam is making $25 a bottle. No, they're not.
No.
They're making about $6 for this.
Right.
Well, $3 is the fucking cost of the bottle itself.
Right. Because glass prices have gone up with the way inflation. We heard about that. Who was it? Mike Rowe. Do you remember he started doing
Yes.
his own bourbon?
Yes.
And he had a custom bottle that he had already scheduled the production for the bottle and everything. And then
it's
the prices
nuts.
went up, and it totally delayed the release of his custom bourbon, wasn't it? Something to that effect.
Yes.
But
Another
here-
celebrity, TV celebrity, I want to get in on the bourbon binge.
right. But here you you predicted this altogether. You know what my new AAA is?
Oh, 46? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's poor man's,
That
poor
is
man's
every bit
Colonel
as good.
Taylor.
Yeah, that is every bit as good as AAA originally was too.
You know, and here, speaking of benchmark, I mean,
Benchmark bonded 100 proof,
we-
and that was $19.99, folks.
yep, we're value proposition.
Yep.
But this is, I'm telling you, we need to do a blind.
Lee wants to know, could we substitute MB 2020?
Story time. Story time.
Oh shit.
Story time.
Oh.
My senior prom. All right, I had a good friend of mine that was a little older than me. I think he's 3 years older than I am. Well, his dad. Oh yeah, you still got a little bit. His dad was I grew up in a pretty small town, a very small town. His dad had a milk run, and my parents were one of his customers. So I got to know him obviously pretty well. Well, Kevin is his name. Kevin
The
took
milkman.
well, the milkman was Mr. Don,
Okay.
okay, and his son was Kevin, and Kevin's a little older, and I got to be good friends with Kevin.
Okay.
Kevin, when Kevin was a freshman in college, his dad got a new milk truck because he just needed a new milk truck and finally wore out the old one. Well, Kevin took the old one and he painted it school bus yellow. Okay. He named it The Lump.
All right.
All right. And he put a pretty kick-ass fucking sound system in it.
I love it.
And we drove that to concerts. We drove that thing all over the place. So my senior prom, okay,
Yeah.
he says to me, he calls me up 3 days before the prom. He says, "Hey, you want to take the lump to prom?" I said, "Fuck yeah." So he kept it in a barn behind his cousin's house. We rolled it out of there, fired some ether into it, got it to fire up. We took a battery that my dad had on the shelf, charged it, it held a charge. We put it in that thing and got it to run. And I took my senior prom was I forgot it was in the lump. So I drove in a tuxedo.
I do the lump.
Driving down the road looking like James Bond in a black tie, black tuxedo, driving a milk truck painted school bus yellow.
Too funny.
And well,
With MD 2020.
on that drive now I had to go from my house. I double dated with my best friend, Rich. I drove to Rich's house.
Richie Rich, really?
No, it was Rich.
Okay, Rich.
His
And
name
for
was
emphasis. Rich.
Yes.
Gotcha.
I drove to Rich's house, then I drove to pick up my date, then we drove to pick up his date, then we drove about 20 miles to the resort that we were having our prom at. Well, in all that driving around, by the time we got to the resort, I had this bottle of MD 2020 between my legs. I was just
Did you ease the seat back?
drinking. By the time we got to the resort, the whole bottle was gone. I was so lit. It was insanity. Just insanity.
Bet your dates love that, Lee says. Did you catch the Van Halen?
Yes, I did. It was just complete insanity on my part. But that's, I was 18 years old. What do you expect? And the thing that's crazy about that, okay, 18-year-olds do stupid shit. Where I grew up, I was legal drinking age.
Right. Sherry says, you had a date driving that get up?
Absolutely. Now you got to understand, I was about 25 pounds lighter than I am now, and I was a Big Ten scholarship athlete. So,
Right.
I sorry. Yeah, I had my pick
He
of
was
the
a kicker
litter.
on the football team.
I had the pick of the litter in high school. I had the pick of the litter in college for a couple of years.
Too funny.
Here,
Probably had hair too, right?
I had a full head of hair, a white blonde hair.
Really?
Oh yeah.
You were toe-headed?
I was a total towhead. And in college, it came out the bottom of my helmet. They kept yelling at me. They're like, somebody's going to pull that on you. I'm like, I'm just a kicker.
Right. Who's going to tackle me?
I was the littlest guy on the field, too.
Sounds like me in the band.
I'll tell you when it made my day. And I didn't get to play a lot, okay?
That's the good stuff, by the way.
I didn't get to play a lot. But one thing was absolutely certain. From 42 yards in, I just never missed. I couldn't kick long field goals. I just didn't have the leg. That's why I didn't get to go on.
Right.
Okay. And matter of fact, I never kicked off because there was another player that ended up playing a little bit for the Dallas Cowboys. He could kick the ball out of the stadium. But in the clutch, I don't care what the yardage was. If it was inside 42 yards, it was just good. I mean, I would hold my hand over my eyes and kick it to be good.
Damn.
Yeah, no, it was muscle memory. That's all
Right.
it was. It was muscle memory from this hash or muscle memory from this hash.
You knew what
I
the
did
angle
s-
had to be in the whole bit.
You did it so much all the time. It's just the same thing over and over and over.
Right.
So, as far as the leg whip, what you're going to power you're going to produce, it didn't matter if it was an extra point or if it was 42 yards.
Right.
It was going to be the same. So, my big break came in my first year with 8 seconds left on the clock. We had a 40-yard field goal to beat Michigan State at home, and
Nice.
my number got called, and I had never played in a game to that point. And matter of fact, the radio call, they didn't know who I was,
Right.
and because there was, I hate to say it, but I wore number 95 because I was a nobody. Who's this guy?
Right.
Okay. But I went in and kicked the field goal, and I'll never forget a guy that went on to play in the NFL. His name is Randy Wright. He was the quarterback, and he was the holder. I kicked the ball, and I just went like this because I knew it was good right away. It just felt perfect.
Right.
And split the uprights with ease. And people are mobbing me, and he leans down because he was like 6'3".
Right.
He leans down and he goes, "You're getting laid tonight."
There you go.
Which I hate to say, but I didn't.
Well, that makes the story even better right there.
I didn't.
To the truth.
But I got mobbed, and that was my.
That's a glory days moment.
That's
It
a
really
glory
is.
days moment.
Yeah.
That's a glory days moment.
You really here. You want to hear mine?
Sure.
Fucking high school band. All right, so I'm 5 feet tall.
I still can't get over because I've seen the pictures.
Right.
I mean, the freaking bass drum was almost as big as you.
I
It had to
carried-
weigh as much as you.
I carried the 30-inch bass drum.
I know.
Not a 24 or a 26 like most of these kids carry nowadays, but a 30-inch bass drum. Now, wait, it didn't have a wooden shell. It was a Ludwig Vistalite, which means it was inch-thick plexiglass.
Which isn't light, by the way.
It is
in case
not
you have-
light. However, you could see through it, which was a good thing since I was
you were too
literally
short.
Well, I was literally half the height of the bass drum.
Yeah.
I was literally 5 feet tall. I'm not joking about that part of it. 60 inches. And I was carrying the 30-inch bass drum. Now, back in these days, they didn't have these nice metal harnesses like they've got now, right? Because you got the
Yeah,
little shoulder
that
thing
comes
that
around.
right here, and you got the big chest harness right here that hooks into the drum, and you're just standing there like this, right? No, I had Satan's version of the Cross Your Heart bra.
I get that. I understand that.
All right, so I had these hooks in the front that you had to wind in there somehow or other, and then hook right here, right? Then this went all the way around your back and crossed over your shoulders to right
Okay.
here. Canvas.
Of course.
Carabiner hook right here on the bass drum. No support.
No, it hadn't changed.
Nope.
It hadn't changed since 1920.
Right. No little round thing right here to keep it against your body or anything like that. No, the fucker was just bouncing against you when you marched. Right. So, long story short, too late.
Longer
for that.
story long.
Yeah. So, we had a cadence that we had started playing, and it was just a little simple, something to march to a different position on the field, you know. So we had started messing around with that in the stands, and I was kind of picked on in high school. Okay, so I ended up with the nickname Mikey because they used to chase my ass down at lunch and try to shove shit down my throat.
Oh, give it to Mikey. He likes it. He'll
likes
eat
it.
anything.
Yeah, he'll eat anything. So that was the big joke, right? Well, the band kind of took that and molded it in a different direction. Kelly Anderson, the my percussion leader, was really instrumental in making me embrace that name instead of being
Shun it.
shun it, you know. And I still did for many years after that, shun that name. But he really encouraged me to take pride in that name and make something of it instead, right? So I was Mikey the bass drummer.
Okay.
Instead, I had Mikey across my name on my band shirt, even, you know, because one night we did this cadence in the stands and they were pranking me a little bit and they quit playing in the middle of it. So just kept the bass drum, boom, 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 boom. Right.
Okay.
Everybody knew to stop except me. And then when they heard it, Kelly went, keep going, keep going, keep going. You know, he went, shit, that sounds good. You know, it was one of those moments.
Okay.
So we left the bass drum solo in the cadence, right?
Oh, cool.
So the very next week, we did that cadence at home for the first time. Now, here, this is how cemented this Glory Days moment is in my memory. I remember the exact 3 songs that we played. And Jeff Crompton and Kelly Anderson and Keith Hazelriggs, I'm going to tag all 3 of your asses in this, and so you can come back and see this. We played, not necessarily in this order, Hit Me With Your Best Shot.
Okay, Pat Benatar.
Michael Jackson, Beat It.
Okay.
And the Go-Go's, We Got the Beat.
Okay.
Okay, so one of the transitions, we used Mikey's cadence in the middle of it. Now, we had this tuba player. He was 6 feet tall. He was blind as a damn bat. Adrian was his name, right? So he's on the front line. Now, we've got a band of 30 people.
Man, that's nobody. I mean,
11 of us were drummers.
so you had one tuba player.
Right.
Adrian.
One tuba player, one bass drummer, 5 other drummers on both sides of me, and then the rest of the band out on the other side of Adrian, right? So we're doing this arch back in a V, right? And I'm in the middle of it, right? I walk forward. Adrian, at the exact correct moment, drops to one knee because you can't see me behind him.
He's a foot taller.
He's a foot taller. He's got a tuba.
Yeah.
And I'm
Now, was it a tuba or a sousaphone?
No, it was
A sousaphone.
Yeah, the big ass.
Yeah, okay.
You know, the big marching sousaphone. Right. So he drops down on one knee, and all of a sudden this little bitty boy with this huge damn bass drum kicks it up on one knee in front of him towards the stands and cranks out this damn bass drum solo. And then marches back into place and everything. Standing fucking ovation in the stands at this football game.
That had to be great.
I was an 8th grader. I was getting picked on.
It had to be great.
Yeah. The cadence became Mikey's cadence. Yeah.
That is a Glory's Day moment.
Yeah.
It's a fun, and here, you know that
I took a little longer to tell mine than he did.
That's 2 fond memories, though.
Yeah.
It's 2 very fond memories.
But yeah, definitely Jeff Crompton, Kelly Anderson, Keith Hazelriggs, and some other people might get tagged for that to see that part of the story.
Well, that's great.
So let's see. We've Bet Your Dates love that. You had a date. We're driving that. Get up. Okay, catching up with you guys out there. Hi, Michael rewrote their tune. My glory story was from my cheerleading days, but I ain't spilling it, Sherry says.
You have to save it.
Wait,
you have to save it for January.
Save it for January, and we'll even allow you to tell that one off camera.
No, we should. You need to tell that on camera, babe. Hate to say it.
We'll see about that. Rewrite in the middle of the song. That's pretty badass. Lee says, what if we say please? Sherry says, cool story, Adam. Thank you, Sherry. Well, we have gone 20 minutes long.
God dang. I guess we should wrap it up.
I guess we probably should. Now that we're not actually recording it and putting up, it is not as bad because if you remember, that was part of the issue there.
Yeah.
Was recording and
And
putting
then
up an hour plus
Composing
video.
stuff
Right.
and yeah,
Putting
no,
it
now
in.
it just goes up, right?
Right.
There's a small delay, but
Right. But the beauty of that is when we do get this little box working correctly.
it's going to be more fun.
It's
Now
gonna-
that I understand
yeah.
not I understood
Here,
originally, but
after
now
we
I've
shut
seen
down,
it.
After we shut down, I'm going to give you the headphones and
I'll
we'll
hear
do
it
a
and-
mock thing and
Yeah.
show you how it comes out.
We'll
everything.
get the user errors out.
Yeah.
Because that's really
Hopefully-
those are the problems that we're having because it's new and we're not used to. Here,
Sherry says, nope.
yep.
Off camera, I'm going to get that story, girl. Lee says, y'all have a good evening. Yeah, we're about to shut down here, too. So,
Yeah, you're going to play us out.
you know what? I didn't get that ready.
Oh,
this
well.
time because we had the other
Shame
thing.
on us.
Yeah, next week, hopefully we'll have the production module and I can do some kind of music on the way out, if nothing else.
Next week, tune in. We're going to do the improved whiskey cocktail next
Improved
week.
whiskey cocktail, which is a riff off of the old fashioned.
Yes, it is.
So instead of an old fashioned, it's an improved.
It's the improved here, and all it was is they took the old fashioned. They wanted to improve it. They added a couple different flavors to it, and called it the improved
See,
whiskey
Sherry.
cocktail.
Yep.
That's all.
So
Listen,
thank you, our two loyal viewers out there that keep us engaged the entire time.
That's
out there,
true.
Lee and Sherry.
we need to
you
build
g-
a
you
greater
guys are
audience
awesome.
somehow.
Well, you know what? Even if we didn't, these two are fun.
Oh yeah, no, it is. It's a gas every week. But if
Sherry,
you come
we
into
can't
if
wait
this,
to have you down here too.
if this comes into your feed, please like, share, and subscribe.
Yes, like, share, subscribe. That's YouTube at Loquacious Libations. Like, kind of, I don't know why to do that because that's where we are. Facebook at Loquacious Libations. Instagram
Loquacious underscore libations, and on X,
X.
it's
Now we're
Loquacious Live.
at Loquacious Live. You guys have a great week.
Thank you
We'll
all.
see you next time.
See you next week.